Nazano gets into the corner, and Brody now reaches out, looking to get the outlet pass, and you'll end up finding Joe Thornton. Joe Thornton across, trying to find William Nylander, but the Habs come to the other side, trying to get a breakaway here. Josh Anderson!
Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we're going to be discussing, reviewing, and reacting to Game 1 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Game 1 where the Montreal Canadiens somehow, someway won 2-1 in regulation. Carey Price, Paul Byron. It's so amazing. We're going to get right into it though. I'm basically going to be putting up some reactions as well throughout the video of the stream that I was able to do for this game, where we had so many crazy reactions and it was absolutely amazing. But what do I really think of this game? Are the Maple Leafs really in trouble? And do the Montreal Canadiens somehow find a way to end up winning this series in the end? Watch till the end for all the reactions, all of the review, and make sure that subscribe button. We have about 60% of the people watching that are not subscribed. We do daily hockey streams, daily hockey content just like this. So if you're enjoying, we'd love to have you in the Grav Gang, and on the road now to 40K subscribers. Now, of course, we do need to get the elephant out of the room in the John Tavares situation. I'll be talking about that mostly later on in the video. And of course, first things first, hopefully a speedy recovery for John Tavares and hopefully to see him back in the playoffs as soon as humanly possible. But first and foremost, also hoping to see him back fully healthy in the first place. Really hoping the best from him. But when it comes to this game itself, this was really also revolving around that John Tavares situation. A lot of things that I think we did see. And when that first period did strike and the first initial miss of this game happened, the Montreal Canadiens were honestly the better team for a decent stretch of that first period. And pretty much the first period, I would say, as a whole. The Montreal Canadiens really possessed the puck well, got a bunch of good shot and quality shots on net. But Jack Campbell was stupendous in the first period. But then in the first and right after the John Tavares situation, and we had a pause there, coming right out of the wing and on just a clean-cut breakaway was Josh Anderson, assisted from who other than Eric Stahl, of course, and the man, the myth, the legend, Tyler Toffoli. Just an absolutely beautiful goal, and the reaction for me as well on that goal was a little bit intense, to say the least.
You get the outlet pass, and you'll end up finding Joe Thornton. Joe Thornton across, trying to find William Nylander, but the Habs come to the other side, trying to get a breakaway here. Josh Anderson, he scores! Love you, Josh Anderson, 1-0 Montreal. What a breakaway goal and what a snipe by Joshy. And it's now a 1-0 Habs lead.
But going into that second period, especially for the Leafs, things started to change. I think especially once they got back to the locker rooms and finally had that break for 20 minutes that they could readjust themselves and get back to a better game. And throughout the rest of the game, I think that was the case. The Leafs really started to ham on shots. Carey Price was still amazing, but we would see a tying goal by William Nylander in the second period that made things a lot more hopeful for the Leafs.
Nylander, though, finds Hull. Hull some space. Hull back along. Able to get to the other side and find Morgan Riley. A shot there. Rebound in front. And they score! It's William Nylander. And he ties it all up for the Leafs. Right in front and right in tight. William Nylander gets it done. And the Leafs tie it up with their 15th shot of the game. That was just bad execution by the Habs, but they left it right in front. I mean, again, for anybody that says William Nylander is not a net front presence, I just want to show you that goal.
And then we go on to the third period with a 1-1 score. My brain was just racing throughout this entire thing, thinking what if we could see potential overtime here in Game 1 between the Leafs and the Habs? What could end up happening? But the third period continued to slow down, and the Leafs had opportunities. We had power plays back and forth. Both teams had their opportunities to ice this game, yet it was 1-1 going into the final minutes, and the Toronto Maple Leafs found themselves on a power play.
On the offensive zone. Now the Joe Thornton, he loses the puck. Another clear rule is Montreal. Now coming in, Paul Byron alone. He scores! He scores! He scores! He scores! Short-handed goal! Paul Byron! Le but! Paul Byron! Short-handed! 2-1 Montreal! Wow! Paul Byron beats Sandine and puts the humongous goal on Jack Campbell. Oh my goodness! Paul Byron from his knees, and it's now 2-1 for the Montreal Canadiens. Oh my goodness. What the heck is going on?
And obviously my reaction was pretty intense because of just the realization that the Habs might win this game one and potentially win this series. But Paul Byron is an absolutely amazing play by himself, getting around the pressure of Sandin and just cutting everybody past. What a goal from his knees as well to get the shorty and to eventually win the game for the Montreal Canadiens, as well as Armia rightfully getting an assist on that play too. But Paul Byron out of nowhere, he's always been a great penalty killer and has provided that value, but the goals shorthanded have also been a great factor. Toffoli has kind of stole his thunder this year of how many shorthanded goals he's had, but Byron's still an absolute threat shorthanded, and he showed that on Rasmus Sandin, on Jack Campbell, and on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And throughout the rest of the third, it would basically just be the Leafs playing catch-up. They had the power play, they had the empty net, and still couldn't really get that many quality chances. I mean, Carey Price had a couple of really good saves, but nothing that was absolutely incredible that Carey Price just stole the game 100%. He was just as good as he needed to be. He was really, really good on almost every single shot besides William Nylander play, and that was what the Montreal Canadiens needed. They would end up winning this game 2-1, closing the door amazingly in those last few minutes, and ending up winning game one in Toronto and setting the tone for the entire series. Now, the question that was asked to me as well is, will these guys actually win the series now because of this game one win? And I do want to say that for all the people, for Craig Bunn, that actually said the Leafs would end up sweeping the series, that is obviously not going to be the case. But I do doubt that the Montreal Canadiens will still win this series, and I think it would probably still be going to 6 or 7 games. But I do still think in the end the Toronto Maple Leafs will win this one eventually. I think it's just a matter of time before Carey Price stops being an absolute god, and the Maple Leafs finally start getting some goals from guys like Matthews, from guys like Mitch Marner, and those guys start to finally come into play. We'll see what happens, but I do think the Leafs still have the advantage, especially if they're able to win game 2. But if Montreal wins game 2, especially in this type of fashion, then there might be some trouble in Toronto. But not just because of the actual play itself, also because of the injury we have to talk about. Now, one of the big updates here is that John Tavares is conscious, he is moving, and he's in the hospital right now because of that hit, which is what I wanted to start off with because that is really what is most important. And it seems like he is going to eventually recover. I'll again go on this. Sheldon Keefe says John Tavares is conscious and communicating well, will remain in hospital overnight. Tests have come back clear. So it seems like John Tavares will be all right, which is absolutely amazing. And hopefully they do take their time on him because I don't want him to be rushed back to the playoffs. But either way, we'll have to talk about the scare and the incident in the first period, which if you haven't seen it already, I guess I'll break it down. Basically what happened was Ben Sherratt hit John Tavares in the defensive zone, I believe. It was right along the boards and it was a crushing blow. Tavares went back on the ice and was kind of like sitting there on his back with his head up, and he was going to turn around, and Corey Perry, who didn't see the hit in time, this was like a 1-second play really of time between the Sherratt hit and Perry coming in, but Perry didn't see John Tavares in time, tried to jump out like Bobby Orr out of the direction of Tavares, but still in the end hit Tavares with his knee and got him right in the forehead, and he was almost barely moving for a long time and got on the stretcher, ended up getting the thumbs up, which was amazing. But that was the whole play that started the whole controversy and all the chaos. And again, it's good to see that John Tavares is okay, and it looks like he will be all right and potentially could come back for the series. But it's also all right that no other players were injured on that play because there was a bunch of collision in one place. But it was just a freak accident for everybody involved. For Corey Perry, I mean, he obviously didn't see it in time. He tried to jump out of the way, but it just wasn't enough, as Tavares also kind of reached his head up a little bit and turned on the other side, which allowed Perry to just turn him back again and just have a whole knee-jerk reaction to it and cause the injury, which obviously unfortunate. And again, Corey Perry, who said he was a long-time friend of Tavares, I don't believe Corey Perry did that with ill intent. That's not what Corey Perry does, at least not anymore. And especially against a guy like Tavares, they have more respect than that, trust me. Even though there has been some questionable things with Perry in the past, he's not going to do that against Tavares, and he wouldn't do that willingly. And unfortunately, that did have to happen. And again, it looks like Tavares will be okay, which is the most important part, and the Montreal Canadiens end up winning. We'll see if Tavares will come back in this series. That will be absolutely key. Let's say he's back in Game 2. I still think the Toronto Maple Leafs do win this series, but if he is out for the series, and he will have to miss some time due to concussion, then the Montreal Canadiens have a much better chance, I would say. Now, going through some of the breakdowns in this game one that I thought were super important, you had a lot of stats that really swayed the Montreal Canadiens defense the way. When it comes to the shots on goal, Toronto had one more power, or actually had one less power play, but they had a lot of onslaught during the last part of the game, which did help. But the shots were in favor of the Maple Leafs, 36-30. But that'll be pretty much where it would end when it comes to the advantages statistically for the Leafs, as the face-off percentage was 56 in favor of Montreal, 44 for the Leafs. You also had penalty minutes, 15 for the Leafs, 13 for the Canadiens. In terms of the hits, it was a massive difference, 55 for the Canadiens and 27 for the Maple Leafs. In terms of blocks, 13 blocks for the Canadiens, 10 for the Maple Leafs, and so on and so forth. Obviously, the score in the end, in the game, the Montreal Canadiens had the better game, and I think they did overall. I do think the Leafs had some really good spurts and some really good few minutes where they were clearly a really good team and the better of the night, but others, especially those past few minutes where Montreal had all this onslaught against them, still found a way to allow 0 goals and shut the door down. That, I think, was also super impressive, and obviously, Carey Price with the save percentage today just being an absolute madman. He was really the reason why the Montreal Canadiens won this game and could win potentially this series. Again, I don't see it happening. I don't see it quite happening. I would love to see it happen, but Carey Price definitely needs to be at this level. I've talked about it before with playoff Carey Price. Playoff Carey Price recently is an ongoing development, but he's been so much better in the playoffs than he has been in the regular season. Last year, he was not great in the regular season, but was amazing in the playoffs, and was one of the main reasons why they advanced on to Philadelphia against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the last time in 2017, before that, he was amazing in the 2017 playoffs after a good regular season, but the playoff performances are consistent, even though the regular season performances aren't. And that, I think, is key with Carey Price. I mean, even just a couple days ago, he was sent to the AHL, play against the Leafs AHL team, and allowed like 2 goals on 5 straight shots. It was just not good whatsoever, but he comes into the NHL playoffs and is a different beast. That is exactly Carey Price to a T, and if that continues, the Montreal Canadiens, I could see forcing a Game 6, I could see forcing a Game 7, and again, maybe, just maybe, advancing on to round 2. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in for this roundup discussion / reaction moment video. If you did enjoy, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the Graviteh, and join us for everyday hockey uploads. You will not be disappointed. Make sure you hit that like button as well and hit that notification bell to get notified on when we go live and when we go with live new videos as well. That's super important. If you haven't already shared this video, share the video with your friends. Get the Habs hype and Leafs hype out there. And make sure you click on one of these cards up here for my playoffs talk right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.